Welcome back. You're watching us here on Bazaar Morning Call. The GIFT Nifty indicating a positive start for our markets itself. Though the premium has compressed a little bit from 50 points to about 30 points. But who's to say where it's likely to go in the second half of trade? Dipan Mehta, the director at Elixir Equities, joins us now. Dipan, we were very close to hitting a fresh all-time high for the banking stocks yesterday. Today, we start with some positive news, at least on IIFL Finance. Your thoughts on the NBFC space and IIFL in particular?
Yeah, Mangalam, good morning and thank you for having me on your show. I think the entire NBFC space, excluding outliers like Bajaj Housing, are perhaps the cheapest stocks in the entire universe. And some of the microfinance companies like Credit Access, Pandana Spurti, even companies like Ujjivan Small Finance Bank are trading at single-digit type of P multiple or low double-digit, which is surprising in a market like this, where the average ME multiples are 40, 50 times or so. So I think that the NBFC bank has not been a favored space. They have been underperforming. But as we are seeing the churn in the sector taking place, I'm pretty certain that a few months down the line, banks and NBFCs may come back into focus. Just a trigger is needed. And investors, I think, should be overweight on the entire sector. Because at the end of the day, it is a growth sector and considerable runway.
Okay, got that. Dipan, hi, happy Friday to you. So gold financiers, right? Never a dull day. If you're in the gold financing business, either gold is shooting higher or the regulator's doing something. Now we have, IIFL Finance finally coming out with good news. Tell us what you think that'll mean for that one stock and also the others in the market, right? Because we've seen the rapid growth for the others, Muthoot, Manappuram. They've only been gaining market share because some of these names like IIFL Finance have been out of the market. What do you think of the business? And if you were to pick a stock, a gold financing stock, which one would it be?
Yeah, Shilpi, good morning. I think it's great news for IIFL Finance because they are amongst the most aggressive lenders in the gold financing space, and they had clearly carved out a very strong market share for themselves at the expense of some of the other gold finance companies. So, and valuation-wise also it is attractive. At the same time, it has got other lending products as well, which offer some amount of balance. So when you compare the entire spectrum, I'd go with IIFL Finance. It's been an aggressive player. And I think there's a scope for the PE to get re-rated upwards now that this regulatory overhang is over and done with. I think that's where investors should focus on.
I remember looking at Dipan, hi, morning. I remember looking at IIFL and where it trades at. It trades at one-time FY26 book. So yeah, it's kind of bombed out in that sense. But as you say, it should see a big relief rally. That is the financial services and NBFC space. What about the telecom space and especially Indus Tower, Dipan? I heard a lot of interest around this name, even as it was down 9-10%. So you can argue and say, well, it's almost a Bharti company now. I don't think if you look at actual estimates for Indus Tower, nobody was factoring in this AGR bid. Actually, even for telecom companies, this was like the upside bull case. Stock went up because of this, but it's not in the estimate. So it's not as if you'll see sharp earnings cut because of the disappointment yesterday. Indus Tower specifically, if you have a view.
Yeah, good morning, Prashant. See, the issue with Indus Towers is that if you compare globally with some of the other tower companies, it is available at reasonably attractive valuations. But I think that, Vodafone, certainly that's the big question mark. And this, the fact that they lost the curative plea will put more pressure on Vodafone. So I'd get a bit cautious on Indus Towers, maybe take some money off the table. First, the disclosure, we and our clients are invested in it. And this is not a good development. And if you see quarter after quarter, Indus Towers, the earnings have stagnated. And I don't see any major, upside in terms of growth for Indus Towers. End of the day, I think it's reached sort of its level of potential. And you could see that this business becoming pretty much mature. So I would just be cautious on Indus Towers at this point.
Dipan, the data is interesting, right? If you look at a lot of chatter around this, PSUs. In the last 2 months, the BSE PSU index, which basically is 60 stocks, is down 11%. And in the last 2 months, in these 60 stocks, only 2 are higher and 40 are down, between 10 to 35%. Just your thoughts on what happens here. I'm talking about everything here, railway, defense, banks, everything, but PSU.
Yeah, I think, Prashant, it's a very good development because a lot of thought was getting built in the PSUs, and we have been expecting a correction across the market, but it's not happening. It's happening sector by sector, so it's perfectly fine. I think that some of the defense stocks and the railway stocks are still expensive, but maybe another 10-15% correction and a good quarter, September quarter, may see their valuations from peak level, I'm talking peak level, P multiples, to maybe go down 40-50%. And then that may make a good entry point because end of the day, a lot of the engineering or the capital goods related PSU, be it in railways or in defense, they're sitting on massive order book positions. So there's good earnings visibility. So I'm keeping my eyes trained on the entire PSU engineering capital goods space. I think that further correction may yield very good winners.
Deepan, your thoughts on the real estate space? I mean, a lot has happened already, and the street believes that a lot is priced in. At these levels, what should one do? Is a fresh entry warranted, or the ones who are holding book profits?
And I saw Chris Wood's interview, and I think real estate is one sector he wants to get overweight in a correction. So I think I'll go with that flow of thought. That it's an interesting sector. It's in a multi-year bull market, but stock prices have rallied significantly over there, and the risk return doesn't favor you. So maybe in a correction, as we have seen in the PSUs, I think if there's a correction, deeper correction in real estate stocks, I would go with the winners, especially companies like Macrotech Developers and Oberoi Realty are on our market watch list.
Right.
Okay, all right, Deepan, we'll leave it on that note then. Thank you very much for joining in. You have a great Friday, and we'll touch base again soon.